Hello, I haven't done a video for a little while, so this is a bit of a random one. This is Stanmore Station, or the entrance to Stanmore Station. And as we turn around, this is London Road, it's called. One of many London roads in the country. And the reason why I'm shooting this bit of video is really just to show you something which I thought I'd done a video about it before, but maybe I haven't. There's a nice opportunity to have a look at suburbia. Look at the house with this original window frames. So this is a little feature of this sort of particular era of housing and what is sort of quite well to do. So instead of actually building a second load of houses on this side of the road over here, they just merely put grass and trees, which is quite unusual because you would have thought that, you know, you could have fit some houses in there, but they weren't. There's more to sort of give a bit of privacy and protection to these houses, which, to be honest with you, the first impression you get is that they went up in the 30s, but I think actually they are probably 1950s. So like I said, the reason for doing this video was at the bottom of London Road, where it gets to Canons Corner, as it's called. There was a development that was put up by the government towards the end of the Second World War, and I can't help thinking, and there must be some information somewhere, that it might have actually been one of these outposts for Bletchley, the decoding place out in Hertfordshire, or Bucks, I can't remember which one that is. There are outstations for basically decoding stuff, the Enigma machine, and also where they put in these the early forms of the computers that were coming in. So I think they were called bombs. This is like the arrays that they had. That's BOMBES. These arrays of electronics, early electronics, to create these sort of computers as they were back in the 1940s. There's very advanced stuff back then. Just going past actually a synagogue, so I'm just going to keep my camera away from there because that won't go down too well. So this building that I'm talking about was a set of buildings, all one single story. And they would have contained just rows and rows of people working away, doing decoding work, breaking codes, etc. But I don't believe it was ever perhaps used. I don't know the precise history. Like I said, it will be somewhere. But after the Second World War, it was used by the government. In particular, I think the Royal Air Force used it for basically lots of clerical work. I think the recruiting people were based there, and it survived right through until the early 1990s, and then by that time it was redundant. It was then knocked down and they built houses on the site. So it was a remarkable survivor. I mean, it was one of those things that, you know, you got so used to seeing and then it just disappeared. And certainly I'd moved out of the area at that point. I knew it as a younger person, and my parents living out this sort of part of the world, and you just wondered, oh, it's gone, like a lot of these things. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ramble along a little bit as you go along. It was just a way of getting off the main road, that, you see. So you see now you can't imagine a developer ever allowing that bit of land to go free, but back then they did, and who knows, maybe in the future that might get built on. There's another bit here. So all these houses are very well to do. Stanmore back in the day was quite a aspiring, posh place for sort of upper middle class people who've been doing quite well for themselves, and I suppose it still is, but it's not quite the same because everything has changed anyway. So that concept of what you aspire to has changed. So this sort of island bit they've got here is less pronounced. It's not as wide, but it does act as a sort of form of barrier. to the main road, which is a very busy road. It's certainly busier when it was first built. Right, so what I need to do at this point is probably pause and then pick up closer to where I need to be. Right, so picking up not that long after I finished off there, and this is Brockley side leading to Berry Hill. So all this stuff here, so basically everything sort of finished at that point, and then this land here was all government land, and that's why all these buildings here are only, what, the better part of 20-25 years old, if that. So it's quite a sizable piece of land, and some of it may not have even been built on. It was a sprawling development, sort of a little bit like H blocks, sort of H-shaped sort of blocks of stuff, which of course if you say H block to some people it will conjure up images of the famous prison, or infamous prison, in Northern Ireland. But that was typical of a sort of government type of thing. It's just put a whole lot of buildings that were interconnected so people could work together, or be in prison together on that occasion. So probably the thing to do, so how far I can walk along here. It doesn't really make sense if I did it from the air, which of course I can't fly, then you'd understand it a lot more, because I could show you some pictures of what the site looked like before. And there are some very good pictures on Britain from Above, which is the historic England site that uses Aerofilms aerial pictures that date from the 20s through to the 50s. And there are a few good, very good pictures of this government site before. Funny enough, there are some older houses there, so I don't quite understand why back there they're newer ones. So there may just been an entrance in, and then that bit was then developed. You can see it's more pronounced here where there was a demarcation. Anyway, good opportunity really just to ramble on as I walk down towards the end of London Road, or this bit of London Road, and show you this nice array of shops here, which would have been built, I should imagine, probably in the late 1920s, early 30s. Quite an interesting design, and very aspirational in their own sort of look, sort of going for a sort of neo-Georgian thing with the fan lights above the windows. I'm pretty certain that I have done a video like this before, because I was mentioning at the end, just past the post office on the corner and the pharmacist, I believe there would have been originally planned either more of these shops, or in fact maybe even a cinema. So this pathway here, I believe, follows the track of an original pathway that would have been for government workers to go through. You can see there's a bit of sort of scrap land, and this is how I sort of remember it, because you had all these trees and then there would have been barbed wire. It's a typical sort of government outpost. So there's very little point in me walking into it. I am so sure I've done a video like that before, but yeah, basically this was a part of a government site, of which North West London had loads, that was, I think, initially going to be for the SOE, was it called, over at Bletchley Park, that did all decoding works. They would have required lots of these sites, and actually where I live right now, I think that was also perhaps a potential site for one of these things. Never really happened, and was eventually used for government for things like pay, etc. That's over in Canons Park. So there, I can just close in, very, very deja vu moment. If you can look, see how that bit of decoration just hangs in midair. So you can see, and there's also a sort of bit where the bricks are done in to join up to something. So I'd imagine there was a plan to do something to go around the corner, but it never actually happened. And instead they built some flats there. They look like probably late 70s, early 80s flats. And over there we've got the McDonald's, which used to be a pub, typical sort of roadhouse of its time, and this traffic island here, which is referred to as Canons Corner. And back in the day, trolley buses used to go around here, and before that, trams. On the other side of the road, that is all part of, I think it's schools. There's a school over that way, but originally it would have been playing fields and I think there was a pavilion on that site. A very, very changed area. In the sort of 150 odd years this area has changed from a sort of almost countryside to another bit of suburban London. So I'm now just picking up past the bus stop that was there, because I'm actually waiting for a bus that's going to be taking me to Boreham Wood. So it was one of those opportunities like, I'll do a little bit of a video whilst I'm waiting for a bus. You can see the McDonald's sign in the distance there. So this is in fact Brockley Hill that goes up Brockley Hill, and the National Orthopaedic Hospital is at the top of that, and then that takes you down towards the M1 junction. And as I said, this is the land where all the government offices were, and it stretched all the way up the hill. Well, not all the way up the hill, but up into the far distance there. And that's why you got all these sort of outcrops of trees and stuff, because there would have been sort of scrappy trees like this on the periphery of the site. To give you an idea of where we are. ULEZ signs everywhere. Les, ULEZ. And over in the distance there, the playing fields. So that was that. Thrilling, another thrilling video from me. And what I will try and do is, once I put this up onto YouTube, is I'll try and put some links through to pictures or anything that I've put up before with regard to this government site. An opportunity perhaps to do so. An article about it. How about that? Thank you for watching.